One of your chapters, you point to an example of Steve Jobs, who was always questioning conventional wisdom, even in the face of resistance, and always sort of able to prove people wrong. Mm-hmm. Tell us more about that and how that fits into the big picture here.
That's interesting. You know, when we started this show 21 years ago, everybody said we were going to fail. Everybody. They said, one of the very first things we heard was, you guys are going to Fort Worth, Texas to do an improv comedy show? They go, there's no comedy in Fort Worth, Texas. And we said, yes, and because there's no comedy in Fort Worth, Texas, we're going to be the only game in town, and we're going to blow the doors off the place. And that's exactly what happened. It's really interesting that innovative thinkers do not take no for an answer. They have a vision to see things that other people can't see, and Steve Jobs had that vision. I mean, 25 years ago, if somebody said, you're going to hold a little computer in your hand, and you're going to be able to hit a button, and it's going to be able to direct you anywhere you want to go in New York City, and we'll get you to the exact Starbucks that you want to go to, which probably didn't even exist back then, people would have said, you're absolutely insane. But he had a vision and a belief structure that he could make it happen. And the strength of belief and the power of intention is the most important and most powerful thing we have. And I think that in a lot of ways, people underestimate the power of their brain, the power of their thoughts, and the power of intention. It is the most powerful thing you have at your disposal. Whatever you think, you become. And I think that really great leaders and really great innovators know that their thoughts, without getting overly metaphysical on you, you really kind of project your thoughts out into kind of a void. And it's almost like the Big Bang Theory, where your thoughts then bang into existence. And the more that you move towards those thoughts and don't get in the way of them, they will manifest themselves. And that's what great people like Steve Jobs did, is they will not be told no. They have a vision in their head and they move forward. And that's something that's very, very important. So many people stop right as they're about to hit their big success moment. They give up. There's that moment where they think, this isn't working, this is all baloney, not me, not me, not me. And that's the very moment when it happens that it doesn't happen. And what I encourage people to do is, when you believe in your heart, you believe it and you know it to be true and you can see it, it will happen. And that's what great innovators do.
When you're out talking to CEOs and leaders and things, how do you bring this into context and get them to understand some of these patterns that you've just spoken about to help them sort of manifest what their vision is?
Do you know what's fascinating? This is something that I find that the more and more I talk, I always ask one question to CEOs. Without name dropping, I was talking to Colin Powell. We were on an event once, and I said to him, we were standing backstage, and I said, what is it that you think successful people know that people who aren't as successful don't know? And he said, whatever you think, you become. That's what he said. He said, whatever is in your mind is what's going to become your reality. And the more CEOs you talk to, they know that. They fundamentally know it. And that's the reason why they become the CEO. Now, it's not all of them. But the really interesting thing is they know it, but the greatest of great leaders pass that knowledge down. Some people have the knowledge and they don't share it. They use it for themselves and they don't share it. But the really great leader tells everyone underneath them, this is how you do things, and one day I want you to become bigger than me. One thing I always tell, we have a training center where we have hundreds of kids who come through hoping to have a career in comedy one day. And we have a satellite theater where they get to go do their performances. And one night when we were opening it, all the students were in front of us, and I said, my hope for you is that one day you create a show far bigger than this show. And that's really what I feel. Like, I want them to succeed far greater than I did, because that's what you do. You carry a torch for people, and I've been given so much that my job is now an act of service, where I have to now pass that down and hope that somebody else. And so what I find when I talk to CEOs is the great ones know that very thing. The thing I ask of them is, please share it. Share that knowledge and make somebody better than you. And the great ones do it. The great ones, they create a pathway for success for those underneath them. And again, I really do think we're coming to a new age where that dog-eat-dog world is, believe it or not, it is going away. I know it's thrashing right now, but I really do think that coming together and unifying and celebrating each other is coming back. I believe it.